volunteer with the C.A.R.E program in Tallahassee, Florida. I've always been an animal person. I've always wanted to own a pet, and I'm probably that annoying girl that you always see on the road who is wanting to pet your dog even if you're a complete stranger. I love animals, and growing up I couldn't really own any pets because the house that my family and I stayed in was a rental property and they didn't allow for pets. But my mom, being the awesome person that she is, she still let me and my siblings bring in pets off of the road, like kittens that were abandoned by their mothers because they thought they wouldn't survive, or dogs that had been dropped off by previous owners, and we even have an exotic bird now. So we found ways around not owning pets. We still had pets involved in our lives. And it wasn't until I moved here to Tallahassee in 2016 to earn my bachelor's degree that I finally got to own a pet. Her name is Nala. Nala was found on the street by a local rescue shelter here in Tallahassee and put up for adoption. I ended up adopting her from that shelter back in October of 2016. She's a little nervous around some people, but together we're working on it. And it was adopting Nala that really inspired me to try and do what I can to help other rescue animals. I'm not really in the position to adopt another animal right now, so I thought, what else can I do to help? It was around that time that a supervisor at my job told me about the C.A.R.E program and the program's efforts to help animals that had been injured and abandoned. I did some more research on my own and found out that they were rescuing these animals that would probably be facing euthanasia at a shelter because of the sheer number of homeless animals that are brought in every day. Many of the animals kept at these shelters do have to be put down, especially if no one will adopt them or if they're deemed too dangerous to adopt out. The C.A.R.E program saves animals from possible death on the streets or even in these shelters. The C.A.R.E program is a non-profit organization that will treat injuries, often spending thousands of dollars to perform these life-saving surgeries. Then the animals are kept in the hospital where they are healthy and happy, and then they're adopted out.
He is an 8-month-old German Shepherd. He came into our hospital having been hit by a car in December, and he had broken both of his back legs. One of his legs was broken at the femur and the tibia and 2 places, and then the other leg was broken at the ankle and had lost much of the skin over the top part of the foot. So he's gone through about 12 hours of surgery now over 3 different procedures where we were able to put his broken leg back together with pins and an external fixator, and now that's back to pretty much normal, the one that doesn't have anything on it. And the other one, we're trying to save it, but we may end up having to amputate. We'll have to see. So he's got a cast on right now and a bone plate in there where we had trying to fuse his ankle because it was so dislocated. It needs to be fused to be usable. But the wound on top of it is completely healed. So after about 10 weeks, we were able to get the skin to heal over, even though he was missing all the skin and tendons off the top of it. But hasn't slowed him down a bit since the beginning. He's been active, playful, happy. He's really tolerated everything well, and he's almost to the point of being on the mend. Just another little bit to go. So he already has a home. Yep, and I went ahead and adopted him. So
the right things, not the wrong things. There you go.
So Juicebox is, we're guessing a Min Pin Chihuahua mix, but we're not sure because she was a stray found at empty home with some other dogs that they did not belong to the owner of the home. So it's kind of a mystery how they ended up there. No one came forward looking for her. She had pretty heavy flea infestation. She had a lot of intestinal parasites. Her skin's a mess, still kind of a mess, but it's getting better with treatment. And once her skin's in good shape, well, we've started her on vaccines, we're deworming her. And once she's spayed, she'll be ready to go to a new home.
As a volunteer here, I get to play with cats and kittens and dogs and puppies. This lets them all get exercise every day and allows them to get more comfortable with humans. So after a while, they'll be more than ready for their forever homes. I also get to take the dogs to Lake Ella, and they get to see all the sights and hear all the sounds and meet new people. And people love seeing the dogs too.
She was actually a feral cat or a stray cat when she was found by the C.A.R.E program. She had been hit by a car, and a mother and daughter tracked her through the woods, and they'd seen her get hit. They tracked her through the woods, and they brought her into Northwood Animal Hospital, and they brought her into the C.A.R.E program, and they did a couple orthopedic surgeries on her. And she was so timid and frightened and wild that she was pretty close to euthanasia. Okay, so my previous cat, who was my first cat, Pooh Cat, passed away at the age of 20 or 21. She'd been a stray too, so I'm not 100% on her age. And at that point, I was so sad that I just really didn't think I would get another cat for a long time. And I ended up adopting Florence a month later because I was volunteering at C.A.R.E and I was playing with Florence, and I went to put Florence back in her cage, and she jumped out of her cage and was like, woo, and like held on to me, started purring, burrowed her head into me. I felt like a monster having to put her back in her cage, but I did. I put her back in her cage and then went home and thought about it, and thought about how she's in that little cage all night with nobody to cuddle her, and it just was time. It was time for Florence to get home and time for me to have Florence move in.
Forget the toys right now. The C.A.R.E program means so much to me. I really just feel like I found the volunteer organization for me, because I get to help these animals that deserve a second chance and help them find their forever home. What would you tell anyone watching this who might be interested in becoming a volunteer or adopting at C.A.R.E?
Do it. Definitely volunteer. Not everyone can own a pet, and which is totally fine. It's not always the right time in people's lives to have a pet, but I feel like everyone can have an hour or so in their week where they can give to the C.A.R.E program.
Every year there's situations like that, animals that have rough start in life, they're orphaned from a very young age and have to be hand raised, or a puppy with terrible parvo, that's virus and vomiting and diarrhea and just feeling like they want to die, and then surgeries like beignet and tycho. So being able to provide those animals the care they need and eventually find them homes is really rewarding.